Hello, Graham Vincent, violin maker and musician. Somebody asked me to go through the process of putting a bass bar on. Now, I'm actually in the process of filming a different video, which is basically sort of me working on four old violins. But I will just edit this out as a special little thing about bass bars. So here we go. This is an old sort of German lion head sort of fiddle, not a very good one. I've whipped the front off. I have sort of taken the thickness down because it was as thick as a floorboard in some places, not as thick as some of the other ones I'm doing actually. And I obviously in the process sort of planed off the carved in bass bar. It's been quite interesting. You'll see it's exposed some woodworm, but that's all fine and dandy. There's plenty of very expensive violins with woodworm holes in them, and the glue will fill some of that up because it's actually in the woodworm seem to like the bass bar on this particular one. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the camera around now and sort of focus it in on where I'm working. And so you won't be able to look at my wonderful face, but you will be able to see me beavering away, and I shall chat away incessantly, tell you what I'm doing. So let's go. Right, so here we are. I've planed this up already. The grain is pretty much vertically in this bass bar. I do mine 5.5 millimeters thick. I do them 265 millimeters long. I put a pencil mark 120. That'll be 145, I guess, won't it? And that 120, I sort of line up with the bridge position, basically. So I put this on by eye, roughly where it's going to be, and then sometimes I mark this directly onto the front, but I'm kind of trying to get into the habit of working a little bit more neatly and leaving fewer marks behind. So I'm now looking at generally using masking tape. So what I do then is I decide which way that's going to be up. I think that way up. The grain is running out slightly that way, so it's going to be easier to chisel it that way. So I'll have it with the grain running down. It's only a little bit out of true, but I'll put it that way. I will then position this. I just do it by eye. I do it normally, a couple of millimeters away from the F-hole, and then I angle it slightly like that, okay? And then I will put pencil marks on the tape. So now I can put it back in the same spot every single time. Then the first thing I do is just look, and I think, oh, it's about 1/4 inch, so I draw 1/4 inch and a bit of a line there, and the same here. And then I use, it's a bench hook for cutting things on, basically, which I find quite useful. And then I'll just take that off on the on that pencil line. Be careful not to cut towards yourself, which is kind of rather tempting to do when you're using a paring chisel on a bass bar. Because if you do that, you will cut yourself, and I will try not to demonstrate that happening. Right. Oh, the other thing I haven't done yet is I always put a mark at the one end, the top end in my case. You mark it any way you want, basically. But for me, I always put it in the same place. Then I know I can get back to it easily. Now, a lot of people do things like using fancy devices to mark it. I don't. I just, at this stage, again, I'll say, right, I need a bit more off there, a bit more off here. Do it by eye. Because we actually got quite close on that first go. Right, so you can see there's about, less than 1/8 of an inch there, and maybe a 1/16 of an inch there, but something wants to come off in the middle. So I will take something off there and also at the ends still, on both ends, from about there actually. Right, well it's already, we're getting the general shape about right. I need some more off top and bottom on this side only. No, I think a bit more in the middle there. Yeah, okay, so take a bit more off there, but slightly angled to that one side. Bit more off in the middle. Okay, so we are now ready to move over to marking with chalk. I don't bother anymore with like washers and pencil lines and all the rest of it. It just slows me down. This is, for me, the fastest way and the most accurate. Plenty of chalk. I'm using some open weave kind of sandpaper so the chalk falls through. Use white chalk. Don't do what I did the first time I did a few of these. I just got some chalk from my daughter's art box and I ended up with a bright pink stain on the front on one of them and a bright blue stain on the front on another one. So yeah, white chalk is what you need. Unless you particularly want a stain in the front. I mean, it doesn't really matter, does it? But right, put it in there, hold it vertically, rub it backwards and forwards a small amount. Turn it over. Pare off the chalk. What you're seeing with the chalk isn't where it fits. It's where it doesn't fit, because if it's touching the front already, it's too high at that point. So the chalk can come off. Do it again. Now, as you go, this will start to be frustrating because you'll find you have to take off more and more each time. I don't mean a thicker piece because they want to be thinner, but what I mean is you're going to be paring away the surface on more and more of the base bar as it gets closer and closer to being a good fit. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. I'm being very careful on this because I noticed that it was leaning over slightly, so this time I very purposefully made sure it was vertical. Because you're over to one side, the base bar, I mean, it won't be square on the top, it will be at an angle. And also because you're going from proportionally, but what you're going to find is basically it's a sort of a, it's got a low point in the middle as well. I don't know quite. I suppose you'd call it saddleback, wouldn't you? So carry on marking the surface with the chalk, paring the chalk off. Don't take big shavings off, just little fine shavings as you go. Now, when I held this up to the camera just now, the first time I'd marked it out, you saw there were like 3 areas with chalk on. Let's see how we're doing now. Because we should be getting closer now. Do you see now how much of the bass bar is in contact with the front? So again, just pare away the chalk. Right, where was I? I was busily working away and suddenly my phone told me there was no storage. So anyway, we're back. So we continue taking off any bits where the chalk has marked it, and so that is to say anywhere where it's touching. But I'm taking a much finer shaving now as we're getting closer. think I'm pretty much there now. Let's just do one more, but you can see that it's getting there. Right, that'll do. I think what I'm going to do on this one as well is just lightly rub the paper over here to knock off any local high spots. And the same on here, but being very careful not to round the edges. So there we have it. Let's just see how that sits. Pretty good. Pretty good. On the first two that I've done this evening, I've just literally done them and left them as just to, you know, I put the glue on and just left them. But I think I have two of these special clamps that I made up, so I think I will use these for the last two, seeing as I've got them. It's just a bar and some wedges. Pretty simple stuff, because at this stage the top of the bar is straight. So I just tighten it like that, and then sight it, and oh gosh, I don't know if you can see that, but that's a pretty good fit. And then if there's any gap, I can just simply pop a wedge in. So there'll be one there by the look of it. Maybe one on that side as well. Yeah. Can you see that? It's a pretty good fit. Didn't take long to do, did it? Here's the glue. I'll just whop it on. Could do with a little lift at that end as well. So I'll just make a little wedge to go there. Yeah, that's good. Not going to clean up the glue or anything. Just leave that. That's now going to sit overnight. Should be fine. And as I was saying, I've done a couple of them which are just relying on the gel of the glue. So they're just popped in place with a bit of glue. It's just that I have got two of these bar sort of arrangements, so I thought I might as well use them. But anyway, so there we go. I've got one more bass bar to do, so I'll crack on with that. I'd like to get all 4 done tonight, so that's 3 down. One more to do. Right, another day, another t-shirt. Yeah, it's the next day. So this is now dry and ready to go. Joint looks good. I don't know if you can see that. Let me see if I can. Yeah, that's nice. It's interesting. I mean, that's the world's simplest cramping jig, because I fit these and leave the top straight. It means I can just put them there, and I just use little wedges just to bring the bottom up against it. Seems to work really well. Having said that, I mean, this is one of the other ones I've done, which I just basically fitted the bass bar and just lightly held it in place until the gel on the glue had set, and then just, whoa, let's not break it, and then just left it to dry without any cramps at all. And let me get this in a bit closer so you can see that as well. I don't know if you can, I don't know how much light is shining on that, but that little mark there is a pencil mark, but I mean, basically it's a great joint. And that just all comes down to making sure that you fit the that you fit the bass bar properly using that chalk method or whatever method you fancy, but that's how I do it. Right, so next stage. I just recorded a tune for Tuesday, which was Purlongs, so now that's rattling around in my head. Dear oh dear. Doubtless it'll be there until I come up with some other annoying tune. Yeah. Not the world's most sophisticated jig. 2 straight bits of wood, 2 holes, 2 coach bolts with wing nuts, a couple of wedges, really. That's it. Simple. Works well. That's the key. Okay, my thinking on this. I mean, the loading is at the centre, it's at the bridge. So therefore, the thickest bit would be at the bridge. So where you've got that little nick, I always go for 12mm. Got the wrong glasses on. Let's go for some more powerful glasses. I've got 3 strengths of glasses here in the workshop. I'm using the more powerful ones more and more. So there's 12mm, okay? So strongest point there. Now, obviously this is curved. That's curved as well. But fundamentally what I do is from that point, I'm just doing a straight taper down to maybe 2mm at the end. But if this bottom line was straightened out, that would be straight. So in practice, it tends to be slightly dished so that what remains, if it was straightened out, would be a straight taper. Does that make sense? Not entirely sure. Anyway, but that's what I do. And I just do it by eye, using the chisel that I seem to use for just about everything in violin making. Oh, this is interesting because I have to admit the grain is rising quite strongly in one direction, it seems. So I'm going to have to pay attention to not splitting not ripping the bass bar up. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? Unusually, I'm going to do this with a thumb plane. Sometimes I use these, not always. As I say, normally I would do it with a chisel, but I just sense that that's going to be an issue with this particular piece of timber for some reason. And I tend to put a bit of a round on the top of the bass bar. Yeah, really. The grain is absolutely straight that way, but it does seem to want to cut in this. It's a bit of an odd one, this one. Okay. We'll go with it. And that's pretty much there. What I do as well is I put a little scallop in the ends, a little scallop, whatever it is. Reason for that basically being that if you leave them like this, then there's a real tension on that joint just there. If you relieve the end like so, then this bit here is quite springy, bendable, and so that joint isn't going to start splitting on the glue line. Okay, so I have not a violin I've made, but one of my violins had to be opened up because the end of the bass bar came loose, and this gets around that issue. So that's it. That's all I do. That for me is a bass bar fitted and sort of shaped. Don't know how relevant the tap tone is at this stage. Personally, I don't feel it's that relevant. But there it is, ready for the body to be put back together. Right, I really hope that helps. It's no major secret, nothing that complex. Just make sure you do a really nice job in fitting the bass bar. The first few you do seem terrifying. After a while, it becomes really quite easy. So, yeah, enjoy it. As with all these things, enjoy it all. Okay, I'll leave it there. Look after yourselves. Cheers, folks. Bye.